you summon. In ancient times, the magicians of Egypt were some of the most powerful magicians in the whole world. Each god had their own house of life, and within the house of life, this is where the magicians would fight and battle and learn how to battle the evil monsters and sorcerers and sometimes even the gods themselves. But what if the house of life existed today? Well, in this series that's on the table I want to talk to you about is called the Kane Chronicles, and it's by Rick Riordan. And within this series, two teenagers, Carter and Sadie Kane, they have to go on a quest and fight some evil gods to save the world. So today we're going to join their quest and learn a little bit about the first book, the Red Pyramid, the second book, the Throne of Fire, and the third book, the Serpent's Shadow. But first we're going to talk about a little bit about Sadie and Carter. Sadie and Carter grew up apart. Sadie's 12 years old and Carter's 14. When their mother died, Sadie went to live with her grandparents. And Carter stayed with his father, and they traveled. His father is an Egyptologist, and so they traveled and studied about Egypt. And that's where the book begins. It talks about the father coming and bringing the two back together. And so, in the Red Pyramid, since their death, like I said, Katie and Carter had lived apart. And one night their father brings them together to do an experiment at the British Museum in London, England. But something goes really wrong. And his father is banished to oblivion by this evil god Set. And Carter and Sadie are now running for their lives, and they're trying to fight the god Set and try and get their father back too. And so in the Red Pyramid, they are learning who they are, and they had no clue that they were descendants from ancient Egyptian magicians, some of the most powerful. And so they're learning about their history, and they're also learning that they have to fight for their lives. And they're also going to have to start fighting for the world, because when their father did this experiment, it started a ball rolling of unleashing gods into the world that are causing a lot of chaos. Now, in the second book, the Throne of Fire, you still have this god named Set that they're fighting, but Carter and Sadie, as they are learning and honing their skills at being powerful magicians, the gods are doing things against them to kind of set them back. And one of the things they do is they unleash this new god. It's the god of chaos, and his name is Opophis, and he's a serpent. And they tell Sadie and Carter, if Opophis is released into the world in 3 days' time, then the world's going to end. And one of the things that they have to do is find the Book of Ra. But that's an issue because they don't know how to find it. They know that they have to do certain things to locate, to get to Ra. They know they've got to find the 3 sections of the Book of Ra. They know they have to learn how to chant spells. They've never done that in their life. So the Throne of Fire is them finding their way and learning how to combat evil, not just with the god of Set, but now with the god of chaos, the Opophis, and they're still learning and honing their skills and knowing what to do. Well, the book's going to come to a conclusion with the third installation, and that is the Serpent's Shadow. Well, now they've got to, Carter and Sadie are having to find order. They've got to find order in the world. But the world's full of chaos, and they're still unsure because they're just 12 years old and 14 years old. And they're still looking for ways to combat and keep Opophis from rearing its evil head into the world. But gods are disappearing because they rely on some of the older gods to help them, and these gods are disappearing. And the ones that are left are really weak. Their powers are weak, so they can't help them a whole lot. So Carter and Sadie realize that there is one way that they can stop Oberfist. There's an excitement that builds from Red Pyramid to the Throne of Fire and ending with the Serpent's Shadow. So I suggest and I recommend that you read this series of books. If you want to join in with Carter and Sadie on their quest, this is a series that I think you would love.